Welcome to Directly to You. It's episode 213. It's the Redirect Podcast. I'm AJ of Redirect. I'm joined by Parker, also of Redirect. Hello.
Hello.
We talk about things and stuff here, like video games and Nintendo and Splatoon and all that good stuff. And you can support that by going to youtube.com/watchredirect or twitch.tv/watchredirect. And if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can link it to your Twitch account to get a free subscription on Jeffy B's dime. But everybody else, if you don't got Amazon Prime or you don't want to use your Prime on us specifically because it's annoying sometimes to renew, you can pay $4.99. Also, you can go to our Patreon and there's more perks and things and whatnot. If you do Twitch subs, you get the equivalent of the $4 membership. If you want anything else and you're already a Twitch sub, regardless of the fact that if you do it through Prime or paid, you get that amount of money for memberships on Patreon stuff. You get the same stuff regardless, and you can close the gap by paying the money that you're missing on Patreon. The only thing that I would say is if you want merch, just do the stuff through Patreon. Don't worry about Twitch and YouTube, because that is something that we can't really do, you know, like we can't close the gap for that. But the stuff like the game night and being able to listen to the show live, and when I stream stuff like Pokemon Dynamax Adventures and you want to be a part of the voice chat, all that stuff I can facilitate on my own and send links for early videos and whatnot. But yeah, I feel like we don't do a good enough explanation of the Patreon stuff during the podcast. And that's my fault because I do. But yeah, here we are. We're doing it, and we're going to talk about stuff and things. And the first thing we're going to talk about is PlayStation being a garbage company again, and hopefully Nintendo. I mean, Nintendo has shot down multiple times. So
Yeah.
Hopefully they stick to this. But they shot down multiple times that they're going to raise the price of the Switch despite the silicon shortage and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But Sony, on the other hand, did not do that.
Yeah, the bullet points of it are basically, Sony is raising the price of the PS5 in select markets, quote unquote, which is basically everywhere except the US.
Exactly. It's such a toxic way to phrase that. Like, I don't get why they still have a good reputation with gamers. I don't understand it, because they are easily the worst one. They're easily the worst of the big three, and it's not close. It's not close.
Yeah, so like
they make The Last of Us though, so we gotta act like they're good company.
I mean, but you know, sometimes people are mad about The Last of Us, but then even then, you know, they make The Last of Us. So
yeah, they still made the game, dude.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, long story short, in Europe, the UK, Japan, China, Australia, Mexico, and Canada, which is like all of the markets, more or less.
All of the primary markets.
It's the PS5, both the disc version and discless version are, I don't know, more expensive with an asterisk.
I have the prices up right now. Pull up the article.
I don't know what they were before is the only thing. So true. I think it's like 50 euros more for either one in Europe is what it looks like. Because like it was probably
game prices also went up. I saw people talking about that too. Like the MSRP for software also went up.
Interesting. Why?
Greed.
Like that doesn't have anything to do with silicon shortage.
But it doesn't.
As well?
It doesn't. It's that's what their messaging is right now. Is that it's the silicon shortage. But with the real I mean, with an asterisk because I'm not Sony, but like it's pretty obvious. Like the dollar is strong right now.
Yeah.
And other currency is not as strong right now. So. Our money is still like, okay, yeah, here's $500, and that's a lot of money for them, and like relative to here's however many yen it costs to get a PlayStation 5 or Canadian dollars, or you know, so they're trying to like have the sales in other markets be as worth it to them per capita as sales from here.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm sure some of it too is, I mean, I don't know. Again, we're not them, so like we can't know the ins and outs. But like some of it is probably like, I mean, people are buying all of them. So like,
Yeah.
might as well, people are selling them on the other markets for like $1,000. So like, sure.
Yeah, they're like, we want some of that.
Yeah, so like, if you can, you do, I guess. But like, that's not good.
It's so gross, dude.
I mean, it reminds me too. We saw a thing earlier this week, somewhere where apparently like Resident Evil 7 almost ended up games as a service kind of a thing, and microtransactions and all that. And the logic behind it was something to the effect of like, well, we wanted to make what gamers want, and the logic behind what gamers want in quotation marks is what's making the most money, as if what makes the most money is equated to what people want, which like I feel like it could almost be the sort of thing where as an executive you delude yourself so much that you actually believe that, where it's like it's just easy. I'm sure on one hand it is like
the thing is like I don't know. It's a half truth because it's like it's not like the thing that makes the most money is like gamers want to give us more money. Clearly, like that's not what it is. But it's like if gamers are spending more money on a thing, it's indicative that gamers want that thing. Right. So it's that
doesn't
sort of
take
thing.
into account like I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't take into account the fact that there's whales, so like obviously that's just kind of what ends up happening. And then, but some people play it for free and stuff too, so then they're still happy when really they're not. It's just like, well, we're just playing whatever we can. So numbers could easily, for a live service game, numbers could be up, money could be up, and everybody is still less happy than the alternative.
Yeah, and
they just don't have metrics to show that because they don't probably want to go looking for them.
Because there's not like your controller's not like a mood ring. You're not like, man, they were pissed off when they spent this $40. Like,
but what if it was? Man, that $40, that was an orange $40. I don't know.
Our $40 is in the red. People are so angry.
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, so I mean, Sony's doing that, which is, I mean, we'll talk more about that in a second too. But thankfully, we have heard from Xbox and Nintendo, and so far at least, they're saying that they have no plans to increase prices, and I believe it for what it's worth. Like, I don't see them wanting. I feel like things would have to be way worse off or something for that to be the case.
The thing is, like, especially Nintendo, Microsoft I have less faith in this regard. But Nintendo is way more likely, and they have put their money where their mouth is more than once to when things are good, they act like it, and when things are bad, they act like it. Stuff like Satoru Iwata cutting his pay when the company wasn't doing great, Microsoft's not doing that, Sony's not doing that. So like, I think that just the way that their culture is in that way tells us a lot about how they're going to approach this situation. I think that, Sony just operates way more in greed when they're successful. Like they do like charitable things when things aren't good, like they want to make gamers feel good about being a part of their brand. But when people are already a part of the brand, it's like, I don't care if you feel good, where else are you going to play God of War Ragnarok?
Yeah, I mean, it feels to me, is Jim Ryan like the CEO of all of Sony, or is it still somebody out of? Okay, gotcha. So yeah, sure enough. I was gonna say Sony feels like they are a Japanese company technically, but they feel like an American company. Much more so, and I think that's just true. Yeah, and I think it's just like, if it weren't for Phil Spencer. I mean, love him or hate him or whatever. I think if it weren't for Phil Spencer, I don't think Xbox would exist
in the way that they do,
maybe at all anymore. Like I just don't think it would. And so I think, thankfully, because they've got kind of that guiding force to some degree for now, whether they will in the future or not, then like we're kind of seemingly still okay. Like there hasn't been much to show us otherwise. It kind of feels like a, similar sort of thing of like Kevin Feige in the MCU. It's like, love him or hate him, he seems like a genuine guy, I think, who has a decent idea of the whole thing, and like, somebody that can be, as much as you can trust business people or whatever, like, sort of trusted, even though they're also the heads of eccentric companies. Whereas on the plus side, Nintendo,
they're better liaisons
least,
of like, I was in the trenches, dude. I too liked this video game, like I freaking grew up playing Jazz Jackrabbit or whatever, right?
I was just thinking about that game like 3 hours ago, so I don't know how you're reading my mind, but like, yeah, exactly.
It just seems like an old person game. It seems like something that Phil Spencer would play. So that's the first thing that came to mind for Phil Spencer.
Yeah. So, man. Yeah, I don't know. It's it'll be interesting to see how this affects sales the rest of the year. It won't. Like as long as supply is still constrained, scalpers are still gonna buy it, and probably the scalping prices are just gonna go back up as well, I'd guess.
Yeah, I feel like in the PS3, like early PS3 era, fans were a lot more likely to be like, what? You think I'm going to mortgage my house to play this? But now there's fans that are like, it's so much a part of their identity that they will go to bat for the fact that they said that. And it's like, yeah, it's true, I would, and they'll like argue somebody down and it's like, you got to be dumb to not mortgage your house again for a PlayStation 5, it's just like.
Yeah, I mean, because at that point, like,
zealots, being a zealot is way more in vogue now than it was then.
More in vogue, and also it's just had longer time to like seep in to where like by the PS3 there had been the PS1 and PS2, and so like that's 2 generations of like being a fanboy of some degree, but like 5 generations is just that much more. So
also, like on the same line of thought, like there's more of a reason to be a fanboy now, because when the PlayStation 3 came out, they didn't have The Last of Us, Uncharted, all the like they had God of War, but it wasn't God of War like it's God of War now. They didn't have it was like even throughout the PlayStation 4 era, they didn't have a single first party game that touched 20 million units, not one. And they still have a pretty low number of those, to be fair. But now they have games that have done that. Like I can't play Spider-Man 2 anywhere else, that sort of stuff, which is a whole nother conversation all in and of it. I could have a whole freaking podcast. I could make a TED talk on why Sony is a terrible company for gamers in the year of our Lord 2022, but I'm not going to do that.
Well, I mean, that kind of transitions us into we'll just call it the same topic for the like little bottom thing or whatever. But similarly, there was an interview with Phil Spencer, and he talked about expecting there to be fewer and fewer platform exclusive games in the future, which I feel like kind of ties into all of this. And so just like, I don't know, conversation around that. Like what do we expect
I don't think that's true
to look like?
I don't think that's true. I think that it'll be true for Xbox for sure. Yes. Maybe for PlayStation. In the sense that like, and I didn't see like his whole comment, so maybe this is along the lines that he's thinking. But like more PC games, maybe, like that'll happen for them. I don't even necessarily believe that that'll happen for Nintendo, at least in the immediate future, because they do have and have had since off rip the numbers that I'm talking about. Like from the very beginning, they were like coming out with games that were selling 10, 20, 30 plus million units. And Sony and Microsoft just don't have that type of catalog, so it's not as worth it to them to have exclusives, because there haven't been people that have proven willing to buy a console just for those exclusives. Like people buy into their console when their console is the best buying proposition in the sense that like all the third parties are going to come here, your third party games are going to play better, all your friends are going to come to this platform because of that, so you might as well play the exclusives. But people will buy a new, like, people are already sold on the next Nintendo console because it will have Pokemon, it will have Mario, you know, like it's more of a toss-up of whether or not people are going to buy Xbox or PlayStation for their Call of Duty game, depending on what their consoles are going to do and how powerful they are and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Definitely, I mean, it seems to me like the way that PC interacts with all this and the way you define that in terms of exclusives is a big piece of it, which is just like, I think more and more PlayStation is going to continue to have like PC ports and stuff like that. That just seems like part of it. So like there will be probably fewer and fewer games that are only on like Xbox truly and only on PlayStation truly,
right?
But like still won't be on each other's,
right?
And then Nintendo, like I think it would take them going fully third party, I think, before they'd go also PC. Like I don't expect that to happen either. Like, but I just don't think that they're going to go the PC direction, largely because still like they care about, or part of the things that they want to do are like game feel, and you can't control as many variables of that on even PC or whatever, you know, like so there's
the world that I could see them doing PC is where they can have their own Steam, you know, like because it seems that like user base and loyalty is beginning to matter to them even more. So like as long as they can have their own version of an ecosystem on PC, I can see them doing the PC thing. But short of that, I doubt it. And like it's going to be a thing that like PC gamers would like begrudgingly buy into, because again, like even them, they can't deny the clout of Mario, you know, like that sort of stuff. So like there will be a lot of them that like currently don't own a Switch and like, I don't need Nintendo games or whatever, but the second that it comes to their platform, and if it's like $20-$30 a year or whatever, or 60, you know, or more, they would probably still buy in to be able to like be a part of that, you know, like you got to be a Switch Online member to play these games on PC or whatever, right? I could see that being their way in on this, but even with that, I think that that's even not the most likely scenario. I think the most likely scenario is that they remain with their walled garden.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'd imagine that as well. And like, I don't remember what else I was going to say. I just agree. That's all. I think Nintendo cares about... Oh, yeah, I remember what I was going to say. It was just that, like, Nintendo cares also about, like, ease of entry of use of that kind of thing.
Right.
In a way that's, like, opposite to, like, the Steam Deck or whatever, where you still have to... It's similar to the Switch, but there still is, like, a little bit more startup time.
Yeah,
and,
there's
like,
more thought
PC,
than
like,
I'm going to go
stuff.
to this store, I'm going to buy this game, and I am going to play the game. There's still compatibility things. You still got to tweak settings and like all this. It's not as seamless. It's more seamless, but it's not as seamless. More seamless than PC, if that wasn't clear, but not as seamless as Nintendo Switch and consoles on the whole. So yeah,
I do wonder if there's ever any games where, because for a second I was like, you know, the only situation that I could see that Nintendo could do PC something or other is like if for some reason a bunch of like Miyamoto kind of level developer, you know, somebody else along those lines was like, I want to build a game and I like the controls can only work with mouse and keyboard or something like that. It's like, but like even then, I just don't think that's
I don't
likely at all. Like,
I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Because even I mean, the Switch supports mouse and keyboard, you know.
Oh yeah, that's
so.
True. Yeah,
if they wanted to do that, they could have did that, but it just doesn't feel like something that they would do. Also, I think that they do value even more than the other console manufacturers the concept of like
console gimmicks.
No, not even that, but yeah, that's true, but like that's something that PC is able to emulate Like, because all it is the controller. Like, the Switch Pro controller is supported on PC and Mac and Linux, you know, like, you can use the controller there. But the thing that they value more than the other developers do is, like, the fact that everybody has the same spec. Like, you have the same game, and you can play the game, and it's going to run. Like, even my friend Wes, who is like a PC ambassador, right? I was talking to him yesterday about the fact that it's like, he doesn't understand, or he was saying he doesn't understand why people would buy an Xbox, because you can buy everything on Xbox on PC. And like, there's more reason to buy a PlayStation 4 because you can't buy every PlayStation 4 game, at least immediately. I mean, PlayStation 5. So like, having a PlayStation 5, a Switch, and a PC makes sense. But the thing that isn't true for PC is like, I can't go to a store and buy a PC that is $500 that will play as well as an Xbox Series X would. And I think that is part of it. The part of that Nintendo also values is they want to know that people can just go to the store and buy a thing and play their games as intended, not having to worry about if they have this GPU or if their monitor is like compatible with these features. And like, there's just a whole lot of incompatibilities there and fragmentation that they don't like.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah, I mean, their games are never going to be on PC or whatever, never going to have mouse and keyboard. But if we had that in Splatoon, this is the longest transition. Splatoon, you know? That's the thing that's happening this weekend.
Well, we're here.
We did it.
The Splatfest is free for everybody. If you got a Nintendo Switch, dude, just go to the eShop and download it. It runs from noon to midnight Eastern time.
Specifically Saturday? Saturday. And Sunday?
No, just Saturday.
Just Saturday. Okay.
So the first half will be regular Splatfest sort of situation where it's two teams, one team versus one team. It'll be since it's three teams, it'll be randomly like your paper and you're facing up against rock, or your paper and you're facing up against scissors, you know, and every other possible combination of that. And then that'll last up until 6 p.m. And then from 6 p.m. to midnight, it'll be like 3-team battle royale sort of situation. Where
okay. So that's like in fully different phases of the day, not... For some reason, in my mind, I was imagining it like you do one, you do the other, and then you do it all three. You do one, the other, all three. But it's like completely separated out. Yeah.
So I think that the general idea of like how most Splatfest will work is, since they're usually throughout the like over the weekend, I think it'll probably be like Saturday is the first phase of like, let's determine like who the most popular team, because like in the 3-team situation, the most popular team at that moment, or the team that is winning, gets the advantage, and their thing is they have to defend that advantage while the other two teams try to take over the advantageous positioning. But here, since it's just like a truncated version of that, it'll be one day and 6 hours will be the preliminary phase, and then the last 6 hours will be the final situation. So that'll be cool. Yep. I will be streaming it. I don't know how long. I mean, I might do like I guess this will make the most sense. I'll do like a few hours for the first phase, and then like a few hours for the second phase, but not do the whole thing. I'm not streaming for 12 hours again. That was hell. So I refuse.
When did you stream for 12 hours?
When I played more than 12 hours even. When I played Arceus for like the last stretch of the game, because Mr. Trevor over here was like, you don't have that much longer, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, I'll just keep going. I can probably finish it in this stream. He was like, yeah, you can finish it in this stream. 6 hours later, yeah, you got it in this stream, you got it. And then it got to a point where it's like, well, I'm already here, so even though I don't trust him anymore, I might as well finish it.
Yeah. No, not doing 12 hours sounds like a good plan. Do you know which of the teams you're going? Rock, paper, or scissors?
Rock. I'm doing rock. So like my initial logic just doesn't. it doesn't make sense for what Splatfests are, but I maintain that scissors is the superior option in rock, paper, scissors specifically. But I mean paper. I meant paper. Because like the most common thing that people throw out is rock. So it just makes sense to throw out paper. Not that many people are going to do the whole thing of like, well, the most common thing is rock, and this person knows that, so they're going to do scissors. I mean, so they're going to do paper, so I'm going to do scissors. And it's like the Occam's razor explanation is like, most people throw scissors, so you should throw rock and you will win. I mean, most people throw rock, so you throw paper and you will win. But because most people pick rock, it just makes sense to pick rock because most people pick rock, and that's who has the most popularity in Splatfest specifically. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna pick rock because of that, and also blue, and blue's cool, so there it is. But I think a lot of people are also going to pick scissors because of Big Man. I like Big Man. I like that meme, haha, he's funny. But I don't like Big Man that much. Like Marina, I was like, yeah, I'll fight for Marina, women of color, W. But freaking Big Man, he's just a funny stingray, man, and that's fine, like whatever. But I don't care that much about him that I'm like gonna stand by his stances even if I don't agree. So I'm picking rock, and that's what we're doing, and I'm gonna at least play it. I'm down to play with whoever wants to play, but I at least know that me, Wes, Colton, gonna check with Lee. I don't know, we didn't talk about it. We're at least gonna squad up, so we all picked rock. But yeah, that'll be a good time. I'm excited.
I'm gonna hopefully get a chance to try it out a little bit. I don't know, we'll just see how tomorrow goes. But I'd probably go scissors, just because scissors are super cool. They're like, it's like a little sword, but for your hands.
Oh, you're a what's that? What's the weeb thing? Rise probably knows. Rise knows, man. Do you know the scissors? The anime with the girl with the scissors. You gotta hurry up. This is a live show, man.
I'm looking up anime.
Wow, he doesn't know.
Scissors.
The girl has the scissors. She has like one scissor.
What is the anime with the Scissor 7?
No.
Killer 7?
She has like red hair or like. I
think it's Killer 7.
She has like a red streak.
Mikoto.
I'm being failed by the resonant weeb, dude.
Well,
L.
Who's to say? We'll never know.
I can't make the reference that I wanted to make. Somebody in the comments that knows that's more of a weeb than Rise, apparently. Let me know.
Yeah. So yeah, I think scissors. They're cool. They're like
make it about a video game. I'm pretty sure that there's a video game of this anime.
I'm sure there is. But yeah, Splatfest. So here's a question too. Leaving Splatoon for a second, then coming back to it. But are there other games that you feel like would be fun to have this variety of? I mean, Smash kind of has this a little bit, right? It's just not as tournaments kind of.
A community centered, like everybody show up for this specific. Yes. And Smash kind of doesn't have that. I mean, it does sometimes. Where they and they don't even do a good job at that. But they have like tournaments sort of where when you play on Elite Smash in this specific qualifier mode or whatever, right? You earn points, and the person with the most points, or the 8 people with the most points or whatever, win like eShop points or something, like gold. But it's nowhere near as good.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
seriously. Oh wait, you were talking about Ryuko from Killer Kill. Yes, I was talking about that. You failed me. I don't know her name, but Killer Kill sounds familiar.
Yeah. That was when I saw Killer 7. I was like, yeah, I think I was thinking Killer Kill too.
But yeah, no, Smash doesn't really have that, and it would be cool if Smash did have that.
Yeah.
Because I
think the everyone squatting up thing, that just feels fun. Even if you're not playing in Smash, even if it's not like 2-on-2 or whatever, it's just still, regular normal rules and stuff, but just getting to
a common goal.
Work towards a common goal. Exactly.
Yep.
Yes. That'd be cool.
Yep. I agree. But yeah, that would be cool. Pokemon could definitely use more of that. There's like,
the closest thing they have is like the max raids, I guess.
yeah,
right?
but even that is like, it's not a thing that like everybody is like show up for this thing, you know, like they do that sometimes with like these Pokemon will show up more often in the max raids, you know, like that's the closest equivalent that they have to that. But that, even that doesn't encourage you to play like as a community. It's just like, hey, if you want the shiny Pokemon, the people that you usually play the game with anyway, play the game with them and do the raids, you know. I think
funnily enough, Pokemon Go does a better job of doing that.
That's true.
Yeah, and then otherwise, I mean, there's not a whole lot of other any other Mario sports games. They could, you know, do something sort of like that, but I don't think those aren't community based enough to really warrant any of that. So I feel like really those three feel like the main contenders.
Yeah,
to having some kind of online thing. But yeah, have you seen, for back to Splatoon, have you seen any of the preview stuff, or did you watch any of the Treehouse?
So I watched all of it. So my next video, which is why my video is not up right now, is about Splatoon, and it's just a video essentially gushing about the video game and telling people that they should play the video game even if they don't think that they should play the video game, because it is just one of those games that everybody could play, like legitimately. Like if you like platformers, even if you're like a single player focused, don't play shooters sort of person, it's a platformer. You like Mario Galaxy, it's Mario Galaxy but with better mechanics. It is like that sort of thing, on top of the fact that like even if you don't think you'll like the multiplayer, you'll probably like the multiplayer. It's like that's what the video is essentially, is like explaining all the different things that are good about Splatoon. But I want to be able to play the video game so that I can like more specifically talk about Splatoon 3 in a way that isn't like not speculative in the sense that like I don't know for a fact that this will be a thing, but speculative in the sense that like I didn't physically play it myself, so I can't say that like, oh, this feels great to play because I didn't play it, you know. But when I do play it, I can speak from that sort of stance, and that's less of a thing that I think that the video will be like it'll still be true, but I want it to sound like the video came out whenever you watch it. Then I don't want to have to talk about it like this game is coming out, so next year when the game is out, people watch the video and they're like, oh, did this change? I want the video to just always be relevant. So I want to at least experience this Splatfest before I make the video, and also that would be good for footage, even though there's a ton of Splatoon 3 footage already that I can use for the video. But yeah, that's the video. I already have the script mostly written because there's not that much that's going to have to change in terms of like my thoughts. I just want to like, for integrity's sake, play the video game before I go forward with the video. And whatever I like, there will be some stuff that I change around or add, but for the most part the script is mostly finished.
Nice.
But yeah.
And is some of that based off of what you've seen then in like Treehouse and all that as well?
What, the video?
Yeah.
No, not really. I mean, in the same way that what I said about playing the game won't change much about what I think about the game before playing the game. I had most of the video written before the Treehouse, and then when the Treehouse happened, I added a little bit of stuff. Like for the single player, I talked about how Octo expansion was really good, and like had a lot of stuff that like added depth to the single player experience, and Splatoon 3 will probably be like that. It was more like the tone there, but now I know that it is like very directly inspired by the Octo expansion, and they're like carrying on from where they left off there. So I changed that around and mentioned that. So it's going to be like that sort of stuff. Is like fleshing out ideas that I already had, and it being less of a thing that like this will likely be the case, and I can just straight up say this is the case, period. So video will probably be up for patrons on Wednesday around that time, I would guess, and then everybody else on Friday, and then we'll do the premiere thing, dude. It'll be a good old fun time. Yep.
If you don't know anything about the giveaway, go watch the last video, and that has some details in it.
It's true.
But yeah, I watched some of the Treehouse, watched a little bit of a preview, and yeah, overall, I mean, it's looking good. Like I enjoyed what I saw of mostly I watched the single player stuff in the Treehouse, and just looked fun. So like I'm definitely looking forward to giving it a try in some way, shape, or form. And I think honestly the biggest question is going to be like, I haven't played shooters at all. The motion controls are going to be a bit foreign to me. So it's just going to be a question of, do I feel like figuring out the learning curve? And I think the answer is probably yes. So
I think it's almost better that shooters aren't familiar to you, because the problem with the motion controls for most people is that they are so used to playing shooters in the regular way. But like if you're like pretty clean slate, it's like you're not having to unlearn anything. It's like, for me, when I'm like talking to people that are like already accustomed to shooters, I basically tell them like, don't even really think about the motion controls in the way that you think you should be thinking about the motion controls. Like the motion controls are not supposed to be the star of the show. It's supposed to like fine tune your aim, not be your aim, you know? Right. Like you can't aim up and down with the right stick if you have motion controls on, but you shouldn't have to like sweeping motion aim up really fast, you know? Like all of it is like fine tuning your aim already, and you can like what I do, like I use the recenter button a lot, and it's more of a like a comfortability thing. Like if I don't want to hold the controller in a certain way, I'll like move it up as high as I possibly want to hold it up, and then I center it from there, and then I'll tilt down because it's just easier to do it. So like the thing is, like, as long as you understand like where you want your hands to generally be, you set it from there, and then you won't have to move much further from there. And then like obviously, just like any other thing, you want to like set the sensitivity to as high or as low that is comfortable for you, and the amount that you want to be physically moving to begin with. But yeah, like I feel like so many people hear Splatoon has motion controls, and then they think of it like it's like a freaking, like you're in a Universal Studios attraction, and it's not that. It can be if you want it to be that, but it's not that for me, and that's not the reason why people suggest that you use it. Because like everybody says, from Nintendo to competitive players of this video game, that it is objectively better. Like you objectively have an advantage, in the same way that like people on keyboard and mouse objectively have an advantage over controller players, because you could just use your finger to click on somebody's face and then they die. With Splatoon, it's like you have an extra access. It's like you have an analog stick that nobody else has. You know?
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. I mean, I can see how that would work and be helpful and nice. I wonder if it's honestly, even in Breath of the Wild, because that also was similar kind of functionality.
Yep.
I think I didn't do a very good job in that, but this will be interesting, better at this, and then go back to the Breath of the Wild and be better at aiming in there.
Splatoon made me very good at aiming in Breath of the Wild. I'll say that much.
Nice.
But yeah, play the video.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, game looks fun. Probably. I mean, if you listen to this podcast, then it's either going to be, you know, in a couple hours, or is already going on, or maybe it's already done by now. But check it out. Yeah. So this was interesting. Pokemon had, I don't even know what this event was. It was a something where they gave some information about something. And okay, so his Game Freak had an entire development presentation. This is Taco on Twitter. Yep. Game Freak just had an entire development presentation about needing to switch to a cloud pipeline because their Pokemon models exceeded 1,000 and they were reaching the limit in Sword and Shield. And because they switched, Arceus and Scarlet and Violet assets were able to be developed simultaneously and faster, and then gave some other information and stuff. That'll get to a second. But yeah, so there was a development presentation. I should have just stopped there for this bit. And there was just some interesting tidbits that came out that kind of better contextualize the last couple of years and what development on Switch has been like for them. And so just wanted to kind of look at that real quick.
Nice. I have it pulled up on the screen.
Nice. Which one do you have pulled up right now?
I just clicked. I clicked the link. Yeah, the first link that's on there. Cool. And I'm looking at the thread.
Nice. So this one was interesting because, yeah, it says, so Pokemon Legends was in development for over 3 years and started development a full year before Sword and Shield came out. So, like, if you look at the graphic there, that red bar has 2018 Japanese symbol. I don't know. But so they started development in 2018, which is interesting. Likely meaning the changes to Pokemon's development and direction started before Sword and Shield was even revealed. And then mentions that the Game Freak interview during 2017 looking wild right now, where what's his name? Why am I blanking on
Junichi Masuda?
Yeah, Masuda was saying, I think anything's possible, but I also love the type of game like Zelda. They have this really strong setting and the gameplay really matches it. If we could find a way to make that kind of setting work with that gameplay and giving players a fun reason to go out and capture Pokemon, then there's always a possibility, which is, I don't know. All this is just really interesting that like people were complaining with Sword and Shield that there wasn't enough advancements being made and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then people assumed that the advancements that were made was because of their backlash, and all the while they've been playing it. So like all this does for me, like this is not surprising information for me. No, it just gives me hard proof to the things that I have been saying for years that like they have been actively working towards changing their video game. So that's good to know. Neat.
Yeah. It is interesting though. I mean, and also makes me feel a little bit better / I think there's going to be certain things that are in Scarlet and Violet that, or there won't be certain things in Scarlet and Violet that there were in Legends Arceus, like probably crafting things, I'd guess. It's possible those things don't show up because the games were developed like side by side. And I'm sure some stuff would have gone back and forth between the two, but absolutely it's not a question of Scarlet and Violet learned some stuff from Legends Arceus in terms of, I mean, I'm sure it learned stuff from the, teams talking to each other.
It's not learning stuff from the feedback.
Really like.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So anything that it does that it echoes from Legends Arceus is something that the team saw and was like, that's cool. We want to do that in the mainline game, and all that stuff, but not that, that they're learning stuff from the feedback of that game. So, that also means that like, if they take something away in Scarlet and Violet that was there in Legends Arceus, it could always come back later. Could be that it doesn't, who's to say? But I think now I'm like even more so the things that I was like, oh man, I really hope that this, that, or the other is in here. I don't care. It's fine. It'll be what it is. And I'm looking forward to playing it. Like
the thing is, I think most of the things that people looked at Arceus and were like, this is a great thing, like the Pokemon and like, the Pokeball situation and all that stuff. I think that stuff will be in, but the stuff that isn't inherent to the experience in the way that things were inherent to the experience of Arceus might not be. Like I feel like crafting in Arceus is more inherent to that experience, but at the same time I think that also is like more conducive to like an open world sort of game, like it gives you a reason to explore the world that isn't just I'm going to catch this Pokemon. It's like I also need to get materials, so like I could also see crafting come back from on that angle, but it could go either way just because like it depends on how they think about crafting. Like was their primary reason for including it to like add fluff essentially, like give people more things to do in a game that doesn't have a whole lot of things to do, or was it because they feel that it makes being in a world as open as Arceus is, despite not being an open world game, makes it better,
And if it's that second one, then like that's one answer to that, or that's one solution to that problem. But there's a lot of other potential solutions. So like I'm totally fine if their solution to this game isn't that, but is something else. Like I think it would be a shame if it feels like, sure, we've got this open world, but I don't really care about being in it at all. If they don't nail that in the same way that I think they did a pretty good job in Legends Arceus, then that would be a shame. But I feel like whether they use that specific method or a different one, probably it'll be okay. I feel like they'll probably have a good way of doing it, and I'm just excited to play it.
It just brings me back to this analogy that comes to mind a lot with the game mechanics of it almost being like eating something with a really good sauce. It's like You're eating this thing because you really like the sauce, and you're like, I don't have any more left of this thing, but I really like the sauce, so people will lick the plate, you know? Like, that's what stuff like that feels like it should be. It should feel like that kind of thing where it's like, man, I want to be in this open world so much. Give me as many things as possible that go with this open world. That sort of thing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
hopefully that's what it feels like.
Yeah. Hopefully so. Last bit of news is Sakurai made a YouTube channel.
It's true.
It's great.
We all gotta quit. Like, I mean, like,
he's doing just a good job.
Unironically, like, all jokes aside, like, legitimately, it's a very good channel. And I don't even necessarily mean in the sense that, like, he has information and, like, experience and stuff like that we don't have, but just, like, how his videos are structured is very good. Like, it's something that I think about a lot with videos, is like how to make the type of things that we talk about more conducive to storytelling. And I think he does a very good job at that, even if it's not something that is like, this is a story about a thing, you know, like a video like I won a Smash tourney with only Squirtle is a very easy concept to tell a story about, but like something like your last video, for instance, is not something that as natural to be like, I'm going to tell a story about a thing, unless you very intentionally set up a story that is like parallel in some way, like you tell a story that is like a comparison to the thing that you're talking about, and you kind of refer back and forth to those things as like comparisons, like, see, and this thing is why this is that, like kind of what I did with the Charizard video of like the core message of the video was that Pokemon don't do a good job of letting Pokemon be a story of the be a star of the gameplay experience, and I use Charizard as my my plot device for that, of like, this is the case, and I'm going to tell you a story about why I like Charizard so much and why I'm not able to experience that love within the Pokemon games with these examples, you know? I think he does a good job of like that sort of thing. Where it's like, we're going to talk about freaking the impact of a hit in a game, you know, and like how he came to that conclusion and like what that did and what it looked like before he did that. He does a good job at doing that, and like such short videos, no less. Like his videos are like 2 to 5 minutes long. Like, it's very good stuff.
It is. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was really, I think for that one specifically too, like going through the effort of, it's something that, you know, takes time and resources that we generally don't have to afford. But he does, and that's good. Is like showing the examples of the like before and after of the thing that you're talking about or whatever, of like, here's, you know, because he could have talked hypothetically about like, yeah, if there's no you know, if you didn't have this effect, imagine what that would be like. And it's like, well, what if you can't? And then he just showed in Smash, this is what it would be like if it didn't have the stop effect. So that's that. And then also showed in these other games, like, I mean, it seems like just took footage of those games, altered the footage so that it did the things that it needed to do, but did a really good job of like showing what it would look like if there was slowdown and there was whatever, in a way that like videos should like let you be able to imagine concepts, but not necessarily have to imagine visuals in the same kind of way. And yeah, it just takes time and resources to do that, but he's doing a great job at it, so that's cool.
It's true. This whole time we didn't say what his channel is called. It's called Masahiro Sakurai on Creating Games, which like just freaking get youtube.com/Sakurai, please. Like, seriously, dude.
Yeah. Maybe he's doing a whole bunch of channels. He's going to do Masahiro Sakurai on cooking spinach.
Then do the Sakurai 1, Sakurai 2, you know? Like, I don't know if he has a custom link yet. I mean, he has more than enough subscribers now to have the custom link. and there is somebody that already has youtube.com/Sakurai, but this dude has 3 or 4 subscribers or something like that, and I don't even know the last time they uploaded. I'm sure that Sakurai could definitely be like, yo dude, either like say, can I have this, or like offer him like $1,000, you know, and I'm sure that they would happily give you that URL, you know.
Yeah, agreed. I wonder what amount, because his wife does a lot of his like UI design and stuff, right? I wonder how much of this she's doing the editing for, because it looks very like Smash-esque stuff.
Well, it sounds like he said something about paying editors and having a team for it. So like, it doesn't necessarily sound like it's his wife. I feel like he would specifically say that if she was involved, but maybe not.
Oh, also to note, not only does he have almost 300,000 subscribers, he has 2 channels. One's in Japanese, one's in English. So I'm sure there's a little bit of overlap between those two, but the other one's also at like 260,000 subscribers.
Wait, the Japanese one is?
The Japanese one is.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even see how many subscribers the Japanese one had.
Yeah. I just looked now. Yeah.
I mean, like he said in the video, I'm sure at least right now he is not making money on this. Like this is, he is in the red right now. I mean, he has a lot of money, so like not in the grand scheme of things, but he is losing more money than he is making currently. But when he becomes successful enough on this platform to be like, for it to be profitable, because I do think, despite the fact that he doesn't think it will be, he should also have like invest in voiceover for it.
Oh,
like how Nintendo Directs do. Like he should 100% do that. Because I think that it just makes the videos more accessible, which would be cool.
Would be indeed. Yeah, it's just cool. It's I wonder if this is something
he's
that, like,
paying his editors 100,000 per episode, so it'll never be profitable. Fair enough.
Yeah. Hey, how do I go and edit for Sakurai?
For Sakurai? Yeah, true. I can edit his. I could do that. Plus, they're only 5. See, the thing is, like, for me, my thing, like, when I like sit down to edit a video, it's always length dependent. It is never like, oh, how many effects do I have to do in this or whatever. Like I can, like if I can make a 5-minute video and it succeed on youtube.com, every video will be 5 minutes long, because 5 minutes is so easy to edit. Like just mentally looking at that and being like, 5 minutes, dope, you know. That's why it's like so easy to edit your videos, because despite the fact that it's not, they're usually not 5 minutes, you still at least take care of part of it, where it's like, I don't have to do the voiceover, I don't have to edit the voiceover, I don't, you know. So like already having my workspace laid out in that sense takes a lot of the mental exhaustion away from approaching an edit. So yeah, if I'd edit Sakurai's videos, dude. I do this
real quick. Is my audio normal right now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. For a second, I think something weird happened, but then it came back, so we're good. Just wanted to make sure before I started saying a bunch of words and did check. Yeah.
But yeah, go subscribe to Sakurai if you haven't already. Cool channel.
I wonder too, like what I mean, the purpose of this is entertainment for, like, you know, people like us who are just curious, but like there are also going to be some developers that'll watch these videos and like that'll be beneficial things for them. I mean, probably like smaller indie devs for the most part, but I do wonder what impact this will have on the industry as a whole, or like some small subset of the industry.
Something that's funny is my friend Isaac, coincidentally enough, he's one of the people that was originally a Fanatics 4.
Hey, look at that.
So he's like wanting to make a video game. So he's like, yo, do you know any like resources or people that can help me out, blah blah. And I sent him Mark Brown's series on him making a game, and then sometime after that, this happened, and I was like, also this, you know, and I sent him that, and he's already a Sakurai fan, so like, I'm surprised he didn't know, but he didn't know, and there you go.
That's awesome.
There it is.
Yep, there it is.
But yeah, freaking
cool stuff.
It's good stuff, man.
But instead of learning about making games, sometimes we just play games. And for example, did you play anything recently?
What have I been playing, dude? I mean, I'm playing Smash, obviously. Have I played anything else? I didn't do the Nuzlocke this week. I played Multiverses, which was like, I'm like progressively losing interest in Multiverses. It's like, it's still cool or whatever, but like I'm not invested enough in Bugs Bunny to like want to play the game in the way that I'm invested in Pokemon Trainer and wanted to play the game for them, right? Like a huge part of like me liking Smash is like, man, it feels great to play Pokemon Trainer because he's a way better representation of like what I would want Pokemon to be if I were the one designing it. Like I feel like if Pokemon was the way I wanted Pokemon to be, my time in Pokemon and Smash would flip. Like I have a decent amount of time in Pokemon, like 600 hours or something like that. But Smash, I have like freaking 5 times that. I feel like if Pokemon was that, I would play Pokemon more. But yeah, no. So like, but Bugs Bunny isn't really that. Now, if Static Shock eventually gets added, or Static for the comic book nerds, gets added into the game, that will be a lot closer to the Pokemon Trainer situation. But
I can see that.
Since my only character that I have access to currently is Bugs Bunny, I freaking don't care as much. It's like I only want to play it because like I like platform fighters, and this is a new experience, and it's 2v2, and that's pretty neat. But apart from that, I still find myself wanting to play Smash more than Multiverses. And it's not even close. But yeah, I played some of that. I have a decent amount of stuff to talk about for Smash specifically. So you got anything?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Wave Race happened last week, and I played some of that. And I said I'd give like a true non-rose tinted glasses opinion of it. And it is that it still holds up. I think it's
nice.
It's arcadey for sure in terms of like the scope and presentation and that kind of thing. It's just like, there's some, you can do time trials, you can do some like trick type mode, or you can do obviously the like actual, races and like kind of Grand Prix sort of situation. So in that way, yeah, definitely arcadey in that regard. But like control wise and just the feel of the whole thing, I feel like holds up really well. And still, like, I don't know of that many other games that actually have like wave physics and stuff. And so that's just a nice little novelty. And there's a learning curve for sure in terms of like getting used to that, but still within your jet ski preferences and stuff like that, you can set like whenever you choose whoever your jet ski is or racer is or whatever, you can tweak their specific like, do you want it to be more like dash or like acceleration versus speed and like kind of tight turns or loose turns or whatever, all of which feels like real things that you'd probably actually be able to do for a jet ski, I guess, and like the defaults of those are really kind of floaty, which makes sense because you're in the water and all that, but then you can like tweak them to be more comfortable from there too. And all of it feels like, I don't know, just feels reasonable that stuff would be in there, So, yeah, in general, just seems fun. It's a good time to play it. I'd say if you haven't played it and you have NSO, it's worth just like dropping in and like, again, understanding when you first get into it that it's not going to control the way you expect it to control. But I think for like good reason in this case, as opposed to like it's by design, as opposed to like,
this is what we could do. So this is what we did.
Exactly. Because because you can tweak it to be way more like, car-ish, like if you want it to, but like that feels a little less authentic to like the actual jet ski experience. Like, for the most part, it feels like you really like drift in turns a lot because you're in water. So there's not the same friction of like a road or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's fun. Yeah. Mark said, I found it really helpful to look up tips online for Wave Race. I'm curious, like what tips, whether those were like in terms of like tweaking cars or, I mean, not cars, but jet skis or all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I could see that for sure. So yeah, there was that. It was it's a good little time, and so I still pop in there every now and again and just kind of keep trying to get a little bit better at it. I'm not great by any means. So like I beat easy on or normal or whatever on the first try, and then hard I did not. But even the normal one was like I think I just barely got first place in it. So yeah, I've got room to grow. Oh, okay. Mark said like pressing B to dampen waves so you don't get as much airtime when going over a wave, and just didn't know that was a thing at all. Yeah, stuff like that.
I wouldn't
like doing
know
tricks. That. Totally. Yeah. I mean, I didn't know until I went into like the practicing mode, and there's a lady who'll tell you like do this for this kind of trick, and you can do those. But it's fun. So that's Wave Race.
Nice.
And then the only other one I started up. I'm kind of like just trying to get through my backlog of games that I've bought and haven't started, so that I've at least started them so I can know which ones I feel like maybe going back to, but I don't know, some of them I probably just won't. I started up Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, which is...
I think I saw you tweet about this.
Yeah. I think what I tweeted was, I need to tweet out a picture or something. I made my player character like basically Andre the Giant, more or less, without the like big fuzzy hair. He's got like, so he's, I don't know, probably 7 feet tall, big burly guy with like male pattern baldness. And I think it's really just fun to see the cutscenes where he's supposed to be like dodging out of the way of something, like, oh no, like bad things are happening, and he's this just hulk of a guy, and it's really, I don't know, it's entertaining, because I know that they were trying to make it look really cool, and I mean, he's still cool, you know, but whatever. Overall, yeah, I've played probably like an hour and a half of it so far. I chose a mage class just because like I don't usually do that, so figured maybe just try something a little bit different. And so far, I don't know that I've really like found the gameplay loop yet, but I'm having fun. Just kind of, it's, you know, sort of like early open world sorts of things. Like it's not really an open world totally. It's, you know, you start out in a town and then there's like open area, and then you get to another town and there's probably more open areas or something. But very much like fight. There's a linear story of some variety, but also in the meantime, it's just like fight monsters, get money, go buy better equipment to level yourself up through that way, as well as just regular leveling and get stronger and keep fighting more monsters. The only thing that is interesting not the only thing that's interesting, but like the thing that specifically is interesting with it is you can loan. So you end up getting a party of NPCs. So it's like you and 3 NPCs, I think, that you can get. And those NPCs, I don't know this part for sure yet, can either be borrowed from somebody else's game, or it's that you actually borrow them while they're not playing and they play with you. So like if I'm playing the game and you're playing the game and I'm not playing right now, then like you could be like, hey, I want Parker to fight beside me. And so it's not really me. I'm just an NPC.
It's like a Pokemon mystery dungeon sort of situation.
Yeah. It's just like all of my stats and all like plays kind of like me, maybe, I guess. I don't know. And then, you know, I'm fighting alongside you, but just not as a real person. So that's pretty neat. I don't know that I'll have anybody to do that with particularly, but like, I don't know. If you want to do that, game's like on sale for like $9 right now. So somebody else can start playing it and we can trade out people or something. But in the meantime, having a good time, and we'll see how far I get in it.
Nice.
That's about it for me.
I'm also playing Yu-Gi-Oh again.
Nice.
For people that watch streams, there's probably at least been one exchange like this. My brother will come into this room and be like, "I'm more Yu-Gi-Oh! Freaking throw me out. I'll beat you like just like when we were kids and blah blah." And it's like, first of all, it's not even true. Not at any point in time in history has my brother Samuel ever consistently beaten me at any of the video games that I play. He will maintain that he has. He'll be like, oh, I was getting at you in Pokemon. Like, nah, never. not for a single second. So we've been playing that, and it remains true. So the first time that this happened, my friend Ebe, who also people that watch Twitch streams will be at least on some level familiar with, because he started watching streams, which was a funny situation. So because he was like, oh yeah, you stream. He was like, what's your Twitch? And I was like, I told him to Twitch. And then he watched it the first time when I did the youth lock, and he was, when I came downstairs, he was here, and he was like, I was thoroughly impressed. I was dying. Awesome. But yeah, no, so when my brother was talking crap the first time, I came downstairs because I was like in the I was in West Discord and I was talking to all of them. And I was like, unless I stopped talking to my friends to come down here and play this game, let's play the game. And then Sam was like, nah, I was just, I'm not ready yet. I gotta build my deck. I gotta get more cards. And I was like, all right, whatever. So then Eve was like, all right, well, since you're here, let's play. And then I played Eve, who is like more into, like, I feel like he's more into Yu-Gi-Oh than I am. Like most times when I come downstairs and he's here, he's like, has Yu-Gi-Oh, like a Yu-Gi-Oh YouTuber on in the background while he's doing something. So like I played against him, and so far I think we did like 10 duels in total. He hasn't won a single duel. Wow. Yeah, and then I played against Sam, and he has not won a single duel. And matter of fact, I'm not even entirely sure if I've finished a duel with him. Like he'll surrender. Like it gets to a point where he's like, man, F you. And I'll like first turn. Like I think pretty much every duel we've done so far, except for maybe one, I think he got kind of close to winning, has been like turn one, I'd summoned more than enough cards with more than enough damage to clear him out turn one, like my first turn of action, and he'd be like, man, and then he'll quit. Like he'll never let his life points actually get to zero. So far that's what it's been. And I think that's going to be like that for a while.
That doesn't feel very hard of the cards of him to me. I mean, I'm just saying.
It's true, but he's an old man, so like every like he has so many cards that are old cards. Like I remember the first thing that he played, or like the first time that we played the game after he built his deck or whatever. He like did this very standard like 2004 Yu-Gi-Oh thing where he like played this like I forgot what the card's called, but it like the reason why it was meta back then was because there's not a whole lot of effect monsters, and like you didn't have to sacrifice anything to summon it, and it had 1850 attack points, and that's pretty high in 2002 or whatever, right? So he played that card in attack mode, and he played 2 face down cards, and then I immediately destroyed both of his face down cards, and then I summoned like 4 monsters that had more than 1,000 attack more than what his monster did. And like when he played that card, because he was talking about, he's like, I'm trying to find the right card, because we're talking about his whole process of like playing the game. And he's like, I'm trying to find more cards that'll work in my deck, and then he played that, and I was like, well, that's not, you want to take that one out? And he was like, man, whatever. He was like, you're just scared, blah blah. And I was like, all right. So then I freaking cleared his board, and then he was like, and then he quit. So that's been a fun experience. And then like as an offshoot of that, I've also just been playing on the rank mode, because since it's like 4 seasons after I stopped playing it, I'm not in diamond rank anymore, so it's no longer toxic. At least for me, it's toxic for them. Like they're losing turn 1, but I'm not losing turn 1, so it's fun. But yeah, I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh. Apart from that, there's still Fortnite every once in a while. There's still Dragon Ball Z. The Kameo Wave and the Nimbus Cloud isn't as pog as a laser sword, it turns out. It's actually annoying, because like, what do you do? Like the only thing that you can do is like you hear Kame, and it's like, all right, well, I gotta freaking get out of here. Like with the lightsaber, it's like, all right, well, you can only do but so much. Like I just pull out a shotgun and you can't reflect that, but with the Kameo Wave, it's like if they see you and you don't hear him charging it up, you're just out of here, dude. So yeah, I've been playing that, and that's fine. I got freaking Goku, and he can go Super Saiyan, and that's pretty pog. It doesn't do anything, but but he goes Super Saiyan, and that's cool. But I'm kind of mad because I don't even like Goku like that. but they don't have Gohan, which is dumb because he's like the star of the movie that they're promoting.
Yeah, that is weird.
This is like very
maybe they're leading up to him or something.
Oh yeah, like they do another season, and I'm going to be tight. I'm going to be so mad if I got to spend more money on this video game that I didn't even want to play. What 2 months ago? Not even like a month ago, maybe. But they got me. I'm in. I mean, I'm not in the sense that I still would never play this game by myself. But like, I'll spend money to like meme with my friends. That's pretty fun. So yeah, Fortnite also, but. Finally, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So, I talked about how Tweak's playing Pokemon Trainer again. No?
Yes.
Did I not? Okay, yes, he's playing Pokemon Trainer again. And that's pretty cool. So I'm watching him because last tournament, I thought that he wasn't going to the tournament because he changed his lineup of characters and he's trying to like get them back up to snuff. But he was sick, he says. So he didn't go to the tournament for that. But now he's going to a tournament. There's a tournament that's happening right now. So I am ready to steal more notes. That said, in the streams that I've seen him play so far, like the matchups that he doesn't like as any character, he does not play right with Pokemon Trainer. So it's like it's like an interesting but frustrating dynamic of like me being like, I learned how to play this character, not because of him, but like partially, you know, like I like Pokemon Trainer removed from the fact that I knew anything about Tweak. The reason why I know about Tweak is because of Pokemon Trainer, but I learned how to play them better because of Tweak. And now because he's playing them in a new meta that has characters that didn't exist when he dropped the character, I'm like, you're not fighting Steve, right, dude? Like, what the heck? You know? And that feels weird because like he's a way better player than me, you know, but to like be in this position where it's like you're not doing this right is weird. So yeah, he doesn't know the Steve matchup yet, and that's like a thing because like everybody hates, well, not everybody, a lot of people hate the Steve matchup, but the thing that's funny, and it's probably because both of the characters that I played destroy Steve, like it's not even close. I actually have a lot of fun fighting Steve because it's I get to play Ivysaur a lot, which is always fun. Ivysaur is a Pokemon that like, if you can play Ivysaur a lot in a matchup, it is an easy matchup. But there's so many matchups that the other character basically invalidates Ivysaur, so you got to play Squirtle a lot, and that's harder because Squirtle is a better character, but he is a way harder character. But Tweak was mostly a Squirtle Pokemon trainer, so it's like he switches more than he used to. Like he used to be on Squirtle at like 130% and just be there. But now he switches like, I feel like he switches even more than me, and I switch a lot when I'm playing Pokemon Trainer compared to other Pokemon trainers. But he's been switching a lot, and that's been interesting to watch. But I'm curious to see how he does in at Shine, which is the next major that he's going to. MK Leo's not there, so like even if he wins, people are like, well, they beat Leo. But we'll see. Apart from that,
at this point, is MK Leo still pretty much just like the number one player?
Yes. I was talking to Wes and them about sports, or they were talking about sports, and I was telling them like how like people that talk about sports, especially since like at least the people that I know that are like really into sports are usually like the association is like they're very like not a nerd, you know, like that's the reputation. But like sports fans are nerds, dude. Like how do you keep track of so many different, you know, all these different players' names and their stats and their history and their like what they did in school, you know, like that's nerdy stuff. So I was like talking about that with them, and he was like, oh, it's kind of like Smash, like you know a lot of different like Smash players and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, that's true, but like I feel like even like the amount of Smash players that I know doesn't even come close to knowing like your favorite team's lineup, and then also teams that they play against a lot's lineup. Like I probably know, like, and I was telling them this, like the Smash rankings in in North America and across the board recently came out, like they got updated again, and I couldn't even tell you in order past the top 4. Like I know like some of the best players here, I know maybe 1 or 2 players in other regions, and that's it, you know. But these people will be able to name like at least the starting rosters of like the best like 10 15 players in the league, and that's crazy to me. But yeah, that's something I was telling him, where it was like he was making another sports comparison where it was like, it's kind of like if somebody compared MKLeo to like another player, and I was like, yeah, but even that's kind of different, because like in Smash I feel like there's MKLeo and then there's everybody else. Like he is that much better at the video game than, and this is coming from somebody that like, I'm usually, and not in like a way that like I have a problem with Leo or I don't like Leo's personality or whatever, but like I usually don't want him to win because it's less interesting for the same person to win all the time. But he's just that much better than everybody else. It's just crazy. Like his understanding of this game is just, he's playing a different game. He's in a different meta than everybody else is, and it's ridiculous to see. But yeah, the comparison just wasn't really there in that way. But yeah, that's why it's like when Leo's not there and you win, like somebody will be, they're always going to be, well, you know, the gatekeeper wasn't there, so that's not the same kind of win, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, that's what I've been playing and what I've been doing. Oh, I also so last week I went to the local, and this is partially why I'm not going to the local today. I feel like I did a lot worse, and I was like a lot less motivated to play because so much of my day was being focused on making sure that the launch of the video went as well as it could, and that whole thing. Whereas like usually when I go to the local, I spend like when I wake up getting ready mentally and like playing the game for the local. So I don't want to like double dip or like pull double duty on days that I go to the local. So I was like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna go this week. And then just, I don't know, practice.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, that's been my game daytime things.
Yeah, and now the game that we play at the end of every podcast is you got a question for us? That's the game we play, and the answer is some of you from Twitter. Mega Man asked, if I was someone who had never heard of Nintendo before, how would you sell the console and games to me without saying names or names of the consoles?
I would say that it's the best place to go for a person like you. Somebody that's never heard of Nintendo is probably not a gamer, you know. So like there's a game at every level of your trajectory of being a gamer that will work for you. You know, like there's a game that if you don't know what a game is, there's something that is approachable there. If you get to a point where it's like you want a little bit more challenge, this is usually more like equivalent to like a kid. You know, there's games for that. There's games for like when you're a kid that's like more adept. There's games when you're a seasoned adult that's been playing games their whole life. You know, like they tailor to everybody in the most literal sense, in the way that no other developer does, I feel. That's how I would do it.
Yeah, the answer for this, totally. Yeah, I mean, I think exactly that. And then it like depends within that of like what the person's trying to get out of, you know, if it's coming up as like, hey, I want to play games, what should I do? And it's that they, you know, they have some kind of desire for games in some way, shape, or form, then from there it's kind of like
Cal mentioned, unless you're disabled. Yeah. I'd argue that they're better than the other developers at that too.
Maybe not the Xbox, to my understanding.
Well, Xbox has the accessibility controller for sure, but I mean like in terms of like the types of games that they make, like Splatoon for instance, that's a big part of the video that I make, because like I have a visual disability, and a big reason why I like Splatoon is because it's really good at like designing around that. Like I can be good at a shooter even though I have split retinas, you know, like there's like a lot of stuff like that where even though accessibility is nowhere near as good as it should be industry wide, they're like industry leading in that sense, you know.
Yeah, right.
But if you can't, that's true. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think very good points for sure. I think
the control. For people that are in the Discord chat, she said, but if you can't use their controller, you're effed, which is true. Plus mandatory motion controls. There's not a whole lot of games that have mandatory motion controls anymore. And depending on what your disability is, sometimes motion controls is preferred. So that depends.
That's for sure. That's, I mean, obviously for sure an area that I don't feel like I have any expertise to speak on. And like, I think, probably the conversation would then depend heavily.
Options are always good. That much is true. Sure. And they're not as good as at providing options, but I think that they're better than everybody else at the lowest common denominator, if that makes sense. Mm. Usually.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think it would largely depend on like specific person, I'm talking to person A or person B, and person A has these specific needs, then like there could be, or person B has these different ones, like the answer could be different depending on what exactly those are. I mean, as far as common denominator stuff, especially
another thing that Cal said, keep your thought, she said, I play Nintendo games because they're more accessible to me, but I could never say they design games for people like me. That's definitely true. Like, I don't think that they design the games to be accessible. I just think that the end result of what they are thinking about results in it being more accessible, if that makes sense. Like, they think about not designing a game for somebody that's disabled, right? But they'll probably think about designing a game for a small child, which a lot of those needs a lot of the time is a favorable Venn diagram, like the similarities are there.
Mm-hmm.
They should design more with disabilities in mind specifically, but what they do design for usually is good for everybody. Mm-hmm. As much as anybody else.
Yeah.
Or more, I should say.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think, it would also just like, I feel like the couch co-op sell is a thing, like being able to play with family and stuff. And like, I think the other big sell that I'd make is just kind of the pick up and play nature of just generally the console as a whole. Typically, I think if somebody's asking like, hey, I want to get into games as a whole, and doesn't have like one specific thing in mind, then it fitting into their life is more important than like whatever else. Right. So that means like having a console that you can literally pick up and play, or just games that are designed to be able to be fun in short bursts feels important. I mean, that's like, I remember some friends of ours that they also adopted like just a couple months before we did, and he was like super into World of Warcraft and various other like heavy duty games that you play for many hours at a time, that kind of thing. And he was like, man, we just found like we've been playing our Switch a ton recently, just because you can play for like 15 minutes and then baby starts crying and then just turn it off, And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And like similarly, they'd play Luigi's Mansion 3 together or whatever, because that's something that they can bond over or whatever. So I think there's just similarly, like you said, lowest common denominator. It's just like, it's the place where you're more likely to have just kind of baseline fun without too many barriers of entry, right? And like, whereas Nintendo, other things,
unlike the other two, I feel Nintendo isn't like gamer first in their marketing, in the sense that like real gamers play Nintendo in the year of our Lord 2022. They're more concerned about it being accessible or approachable to as many people as possible.
I think
like, whether you've been playing whether you're playing games, you've been playing games for your whole life, or this is the first game you've ever played. I think it's usually their end goal to meet somewhere in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Cal, I really appreciate all of your
for sure, definitely.
The question at all.
Yeah, no. Thank you for that. For sure, that's something that is important to note, because I feel like it's not mentioned enough. Like we talk about it all the time. Mm-hmm. I've had this conversation with Cal a few times.
Mm-hmm. Poofy Rain asks 3 questions. Number 1, what game series collection would you like to see on your current platforms, and why?
Oh, you mean like a freaking like Pokemon? Pokemon, I want like a
totally.
free, like I want the Game Boy collection and Game Boy Advance collection and DS and 3, you know, like on the Switch, just because I want to stream them. But like apart from that, I don't really care. Like,
yeah, no, Pokemon would be great. Obviously answer Golden Sun. Outside of that, there's I don't know. Yeah,
for me, it's like even for Pokemon specifically, like most of the series that I like, in my opinion, get better as they go on. So like I wouldn't really care about having a Smash Brothers collection because the older Smash Brothers games aren't as good as the one that we have. And they're not different enough, except for maybe Melee, but I don't like the way Melee feels to warrant playing all of them often, you know? So like there's no real reason for me to want any other series than like Pokemon.
Yeah.
And for that reason.
And totally also like I think most first party Nintendo things are just gonna eventually show up on NSO anyway. So like you know, I think probably the things more so would be like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, or you know,
and Sly Cooper collection on Nintendo Switch.
There you go. Yeah. Is Sly Cooper like first party PlayStation? Okay, they're not like
Sucker Punch game. Yeah, no.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that. I mean, or otherwise, you know, like the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters or something. Like, I don't care about those for me particularly, but like, I would like to try Final Fantasy VI because I've heard good things and all that. So maybe that's a good way to do it. Ocarina of Time 3D. LOL. Yeah. Number 2, do you think the price increase of the PS5 would hurt third parties and indie studios?
No. Not really, no. I think that there's already a pretty big user base of the PlayStation 5, and I think that there will continue to be a larger user base of the PlayStation 5 because people, I mean, as much as I wish they didn't, they do drink the Kool-Aid on PlayStation. So like it doesn't matter unless it becomes like actually like prohibitive to the bulk of the people trying to buy a PlayStation 5 right now. A price increase is not going to matter.
Yeah. I mean, I think additionally, like the number of third parties and indie studios that are exclusive to the PS5 specifically, like I think there's definitely some that are exclusive to, you know, PlayStation as a whole, but even then they're probably also going to be on PS4, probably also maybe even going to be on PC in addition to that. So like, I don't know that they'd particularly be hurt, even if the sales of the PS5 slow down dramatically.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't know that there's that many that would kind of feel the fallout of that, which is good. Like, that's great.
Trev said, once the system gets out of beta, I bet sales explode. I think that that's true, but not for the reason that statement suggests. Like, I think that that's true because once it's out of beta, they'll probably have more to sell. But I don't think a lot of people know and or care that the console is half-baked. They just care that it has the PlayStation logo on it and that they can play the newest Ratchet and Clank video game.
And the biggest number. It's got a 5.
A big number. It's a big number.
You ever heard of a 5? Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Cal said, they wouldn't have done it if they thought they'd lose sales. I mean, truly.
Yeah. Yep.
They know it's selling, so like, you know.
Yep.
Yeah. And also, I mean, also the fact that it's not happening in the US is obviously somewhat, you know, like economy based and stuff like that for sure. But also, this is probably where I would guess just the most vocal audience is, and the ones that can like set perception. So maybe they thought like, oh, but if Americans are happy because it's the same price here, it's gonna like not impact the rest of the world as much or something because, you know, whatever, as opposed to if there was more outrage here, then maybe it would impact the rest of the world. I don't know if that would actually be the case, and I think it's
the most complaining for
anyway,
sure.
So.
Vocal on Twitter. That's facts. True.
Yeah.
Nah, man, I don't know. Drake's from Canada. If he says he doesn't like the PlayStation 5 anymore, there might be a solid chunk of people being like, nah, man, I'm not buying it because my other personality told me not to buy it. Like it's a conflict of interest. It's just which one you identify more as your personality. If somebody that you stand on the internet is like, I don't like this thing, you're like, you know, like,
yeah. Yep. And
gonna guess Drake. Exactly. Yeah, it's true. That's why it won't happen.
Spooky Rain then asked, which third-party series do you think that need a revival and why? SSX honestly would be.
Oh, the freaking the street sports games. Those are fun.
Yeah. I
like those. It's the only time I like sports games when they're wacky. And those are wacky, dude.
They are. Otherwise, third party. I don't have enough care about most third party studio or franchises that I can't even think of a lot. I'm sure there are some, but like, yeah,
there's definitely off the top of my head. Some, but the only one that came off the top of my head is those games.
Yeah,
because those are fun.
That's true. Michael Garza, not a question, but I just realized, is he called Big Man because he's a big man to Ray?
Yes.
I had not even considered that, and I love it. But yeah, totally.
It's true.
Let asked, if you could take one idea from Splatoon and put it into Smash, what would it be? What about one from Smash into Splatoon?
For the former, I would put the like amount of customizability. Like, I wish that they did skins and stuff like that. Like, I would give them freaking $10 for 8 more Pokemon trainer alts. Like, I would give them a lot of money in the grand scheme of things to like have cool options for the characters that I play. Shiny Charizard, they kind of have that a little bit. They have old Shiny Charizard, but like, I'm more talking about like Pokemon trainer, but their team is like Piplup, freaking Grottle and Infernape, you know, like that sort of stuff. Like those kind of alts, I would pay money for that. Or even just like the trainer is different, you know, like it's Dawn instead of Leaf.
And what about the other way around, from Smash into Splatoon?
I don't know. I don't feel like Smash does a whole lot that's better that translates, you know? Like, I think Splatoon is way ahead of the curve in a lot of different ways that are applicable to both. So I couldn't really say the other way around.
Oh, I know. Local co-op.
True.
On the same system.
True.
What I would say.
I mean, the thing that's funny is like, I kind of went the opposite. Like for Smash, like I think Smash is like the fact that I can only play online against random people with my friends if I'm physically with them, and I can't do like both. Like both would be nice, but like whenever I go over like Lee's house or whatever, one of the like main things that is like that we do is the stuff that we can't do online, you know, like we can't do quick play teams on the same team or whatever, right? Against random people, or smash down mode, or what's it called, squad strike, can't do that online, like that type of crap. But yeah, no, that would be cool. Like, just every game, if it has the option to do it on one, it should have the option to do it on both. Like, I think that we're at that point.
Agreed.
Splatoon is better than Smash. You heard it here first. That's not even true. I didn't say that. I'm just saying.
I heard you say exactly that.
No.
So
I think they're apples and oranges, gameplay wise, but like the stuff that they have in common, I think Splatoon does better. I think that like the like me personally, I much prefer Smash because I don't like having to be reliant on a team, especially if that team isn't a team that I in some way have control over. You know, like if it's not a group of friends that I can, like, if they're messing up, I can physically say, yo, stop messing up. or like come over here or shoot that guy, or like, or help me out, that sort of thing is why I usually fall off of that game. But there
it is. All right, last questions. This is from Discord. Rise asked, what video game do you think has the best sound design / best soundtrack, i.e. songs that fit the atmosphere of the location in game and also succeed in not feeling overplayed as you play the game longer?
Wait, I didn't retain that because I was reading the chat. I was reading what Cal said. I appreciate so much that Splatoon 2 doesn't lower your rank if someone disconnects early. True, but also it's annoying. Like, I don't want to play. The thing is, like, I was talking to youth earlier when I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh online, and then I was like, I played against like 5 people in a row that all disconnected. And it was like, I don't care, because like I get the dub. Like them surrendering gives me the win. But on Splatoon, it's like if somebody on your team disconnects, like you're just at a disadvantage inherently, And the same thing goes for Smash, where it's like if somebody disconnects in Smash, it's 1v1. So like if you disconnect, you're out of here, and I win for that. I like whether I win or lose being dependent on whether my opponent is worse than me, they quit, or if I don't play as well, that sort of thing. I want to be able to blame me. I don't want to have to be like, well, my teammate did X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, like that sort of thing.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So what was the question?
The question was, do you like to quit? What video games do you think has the best sound design / best soundtrack, i.e. songs that fit the atmosphere of the location and game and also succeed in not feeling overplayed as you play the game longer?
I think
especially that last.
I think Splatoon does. I was going to say, I think Splatoon does a good job at that. I would say Smash too, but I turn the music off on Smash because I usually just listen to regular music, like music that is made to listen to outside of the context of a video game. But other games, I mean, Breath of the Wild is really good at that.
Yeah.
Although the music isn't really like a starring player in the way that it always is there, like it's usually like a contextual thing.
Which, I mean, to me at least, I feel like that's like good and not bad. In that, like, as I started up Dragon's Dogma, I'm like walking around this little town, and there's, I don't know, the music feels like very prominent in a way that's fine, but just feels like, or honestly, even playing like Ocarina of Time and walking around towns and it just feeling like it feels like it's more of a player than I'd want it to be for a long period of time, kind of a thing. And so like I do appreciate in Breath of the Wild that like. And same for Mario Odyssey. There's some parts where it's just like kind of silent for a little bit because that like feels like what it would be like in the world.
Right.
And so that's nice. But yeah, you're right. There's like definitely not. No, man. To me, Breath of the Wild, that's like the perfect level of like music happens when events happen that matter for music to happen along with, or it's just like nice ambient stuff that you don't particularly get sick of, and that's nice. Yeah, but otherwise, yeah, I don't know. I really like the soundtrack for Xenoblade, but I can imagine being in the world of Xenoblade or whatever, and if I'm in an area for too long, that some of the songs could become repetitive or something. But they are pretty long songs. Typically, that just doesn't happen as much because they don't repeat as frequently. So that's nice. Yeah. Those are some of my answers. And then the last question. Mark asked, but what would you do if you could believe it's not butter? Why? I mean, if I could believe it's not butter, I mean, I'd like that's all the power one needs to do the
I
things
can't
one truly dreams.
How can I answer that if I do believe it's not butter? Like, I already do believe that.
I mean, the box says you can't believe it's not butter.
The thing is,
like,
when boxes tell me
you.
things, especially regarding food in the United States of America, I usually am more likely to not believe what they're telling me than I am to believe what they're telling me.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that. Also, I guess for what it's worth, the box is telling you, I can't believe it's not butter, which just means that box is stupid.
Probably. It's true. It's dumb. It doesn't even know what its own thing is.
Yeah, come on, man. Get it together.
He's using the other 90% of his brain.
Yeah. So there it is. That's the whole
That's
thing.
the podcast, dude.
If you are butter, and
do you believe it's not butter? Yeah. Why or why not?
Who are you butter then?
Who are you butter then? It's cursed. That's such a dad joke. You're a dad, dude.
It's true.
True.
One and only. All right. Have a good time, everybody.
Okay. Oh wait, I gotta do the end card. Almost forgot, man. There's the end card. The freaking, click all the stuff. Click you can see that subscribe button. It says subscribe is spinning around, dude. Click it. You see that video? That's the last video that Parker did. It's a good video. Click it. All right. Later. Peace out.
Bye.